everyone, this is Sam Create the Heart, and today I'm going to be making a project for the Not Too Shabby shop using the box of the month, which is a baking theme box. So the paper pads are Cooking with Love and Happiness is Homemade. So I'm going to be using the Happiness is Homemade. There are some stamps, which I'm going to be using as well, and some ephemera. So super cute. We're actually going to be making a gift box. So I'm going to be using a actual die from the Not Too Shabby shop for my tags. This was a recent release, and I'm going to be using this Apron Box from Mama Elephant. So what I did was I took a portion, that front portion of the apron die, and I cut it out of pattern paper twice. This box requires that you just cut it out twice and then you just kind of piece it together. It is easier if you put your pattern paper on before you assemble your box. I'm kind of trying to figure out which side of the paper I want to use. And so I decided to go with the floral on one side and then that other teal pattern on the other side, and I'm struggling with this freaking glue. So yeah, it's not my favorite glue. It is this Nuvo adhesive. It works well. It is just the bottle is so hard that it hurts my hands to squeeze it. So I'm struggling. So but I want to use it up. I don't want to waste. So anyway, I am going to go ahead and put my box together. I'm actually going to use some score tape for this. I sometimes will use wet glue, but I do find that score tape really works well. It sticks right away, and you just don't get that wiggle room. So you just got to make sure that you line it up correctly, otherwise you're having to deal with that. But I am putting it together, and it is very easy to put together. It lines up really well. And this is actually the first time I've used this die, so I was actually excited to be able to use it for these baking themed projects. But you can make any box that you have or bag that you have to do tags, but many of us have dies that would work really well that we haven't used yet, or maybe I'm the only one. But we're going to go ahead and just make this cute little apron box, and this is from Mama Elephant. I really like it. And so I'm going to set that box aside. It is ready to go. Oh wait, I'm not going to set it aside. I'm actually going to put my pocket on the front. And the pocket, I actually filled that top portion of pocket with stamped and cut out images from the stamp collection, from the baking collection here. I think Live, Love, Bake is where most of them came from. And then I'm going to glue that little pocket to the very front of my box. And I think it looks really adorable. So all peeking out of the top there. I'm going to set it aside, and now I'm going to work on my tags. So this is really a great way of using up bits of scrap that you have. And I just basically took all the bits of scrap that I had and use that die to cut like the top, to cut the bottom. I cut little strips to cover up areas that were not covered by the top and the bottom. And so just really a great way of using scrap. Most of it's going to be covered anyways with our decoration. So I just cut 4 cardstock, white cardstock tags. And then I used all the pattern paper scraps that I had to cut enough pieces to cover these 4 cardstock pieces. And this just gives you a good idea about how I use up scrap. I find lots and lots of ways to use up scrap. I have a ton of videos. Many of my videos talk about how to use up scrap because I just don't like the scrap everywhere, and I don't like to throw it away. So I find ways to use it. So I'm glad to see that a lot of companies are finding ways to use it. But this tag is the perfect size to use up scrap. It's not too big, it's not too small. So and it's just fun. So I'm going to go ahead and put all of these tags papers together, and then I'm going to figure out what I'm going to put on the front. So you can see all the little bits and pieces that I used. And so once you have your tags made, then it's just a matter of decorating it. And decorating them is a great way to use up ephemera, to use up little bits and pieces that you stamped and didn't use. And so that's generally what I do. But I really wanted to use some of the new ephemera with this project. And so I'm going to use the ephemera that matches with the Happiness is Homemade. And I'm going to be using the ephemera for the other paper collection. In another project, I'm actually, I don't know if it's going to post before this one or not, but I am making a little recipe album. So that's the next project I'm doing. So now that I've got the tags assembled, I've dumped out all my ephemera, and now it's just a matter of playing with it to see what I want to do. I do have some stamped sentiments that I may or may not use. I think I ended up using a couple of sentiments, and then I also used an ephemera sentiment. And so now I'm just really trying to figure out what ephemera goes with what, and there's all kinds of different possibilities. Most of them fit on there nicely. There's a couple of large ephemera pieces which would be great as more focal points for a card or an envelope, or there's lots of different choices there. And so just kind of figuring out that last bit. And I think what I'm probably going to end up doing is using foam tape. And so I pulled out, I don't know where I have the little bits and pieces, the last little chunk of my Ulta New foam tape, and I cannot find it. So I pulled out a new one. Whenever it goes on sale, I buy a couple of them. I love it. It's Instant Dimension foam tape from Ulta New, and it is like, I think 33 inches. I don't know, it's like 3 feet of tape, and it is a low profile foam tape, so it's like just enough to give you a little bit of dimension, but not so much that it doesn't fit in an envelope and you can't mail it. It's just the right amount, and it's my favorite. It cuts well, the liner comes off easy. You know, it is absolutely my favorite. I have other foam tape that I'm trying to like use up when I find it, because this foam tape is really the best. Okay, so I am finishing putting all of these pieces together, and I think I'm going to use some twine. I'm going to go look at my stash, and I'm going to find some twine. So I'm finishing up here. And so this is a really cute collection. I think it goes really, really well with the diner collection. We have like a diner ephemera. I did a couple of things with that. I actually really want to like revisit that. But the colors are very similar, and the theme is very reminding me of it, you know, just retro. And I think that this collection would go really, really well with that collection. And so just finishing up, and now I am putting in this pink and white twine that I had in my stash. It is, I believe, an October afternoon twine. That's how old it is. But I am very excited to use up what I have, so that's amazing to me that I have it of the perfect twine. It was just sitting there looking at me. So I'm going to go ahead and put the twine on there, and there is one tag that I did not actually put the images attached, so I'm going to do that. You'll see me do that in the video. Yeah, you see me putting, you know, I forgot this just roll with it one. And yes, I put sticky tape and foam tape on my hand because, you know, it's handy that way. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that, and then finish off that twine our project is close to being done, but I think I've got a couple more little bits that I'm going to do to this project. So I'm doing the last twine, and then I'm going to actually put some ribbon on the apron box to kind of be like a little handle, and I mean, I think of them as straps. But here's a lowdown of all the tags that I made, and they're going to fit really nicely in that box. And so now I've got my red ribbon. I think this is Stampin' Up ribbon. I've had it for a pretty long time, so it feels really good when I use up ribbon, because I don't really use ribbon very much. That used to be like a go-to thing. Now I really use ribbon more to put, you know, for handles and tags and things like that, but I don't really use them on my actual cards very much anymore. It's kind of weird how that is not really the thing anymore. So I'm just kind of tying off little sort of knots on the front of the box, and then pulling it through to the other hole and then doing the same thing. So essentially I'm making handles with the ribbon. And this project is nearly done. You'll see a last glimpse of the box. And thank you so much for watching. This is Cindy with Creating the Heart. I hope that you make one of these projects too.